Hi, welcome to this video. My name is Maral. I'm a therapist, counsellor, and I do some channeling as well at times. Today I want to talk about depression and why depression is actually needed. There's been a stigma for so long over depression, even the labeling of depression and what this actually entails. And I know with many of my clients, they have a problem with, being diagnosed with as being depressed or even anxious or anything like that, any kind of mental health condition. Well, mental health conditions, if that's the way you want to put it, is just a state of being, and that is all it is. It's a way of being, it's a way of our body telling us something that we basically need to listen to. It's really as simple as that. So I want to specifically talk about depression. One of the messages I got about what depression is, one of the downloads that I got about what depression is that depression is just a way of calming the nervous system, okay? So our nervous system has got to a point where it basically is being encouraged, it's being forced, it's being asked by the universe, by yourself, which, the two, both of you work together, is to slow down. It's a way of calming your nervous system, and it's very, very much needed. It's a process that we all have to go through. It's a process that we have to go to just be. That is literally what it's asking us to do, is to completely surrender, to just feel what we need to feel. It's really asking us to go right into those emotions, right with those feelings that we are experiencing, and then inside the emotions and just be in that surrender mode. It's like being in that feminine, and in that divine feminine, that's where the healing happens. Depression is really needed for healing to happen, for things to actually transform. Another way of looking at depression is like a bit of a reset for yourself. It's like resetting yourself to the next stage of you. It's like if you think about a flower and how a flower forms, that's a really good way of looking at how depression happens. And in fact, how alchemy and transformation happens, because flowers grow through darkness. Flowers grow through that depression stage, if you want to say it like that, in order for them to make that growth spurt, in order for them to grow out and bloom and show their beauty. And that's the same thing that happens after depression, is that we go back, after going back into ourselves, our heart starts to open. That's the transformation that's happening, is that our heart is being activated and it opens up from this depression state that we've been in. And that is literally what flowers do as well. Flowers open up. The opening has to happen through the heart. That's the complete opening through their heart to then let themselves be seen. The letting themselves be seen is another way of saying, I'm opening my heart. And that is another way why depression is so needed. What I want to do is ask one of my guides that I'm working with, and that's the Arcturian family, star family, Arcturian star seed family, part of my friends' guides that I use. And with the Arcturians, and I can just feel them coming now, so much heart energy that they bring in, so much love, so much earthliness, as I can see them say, and so much love for humanity. And they are one of the first settlers of Earth. They are very familiar with Earth and understanding, therefore, the earthly beings and our earthly forms in our bodies, including our emotions. So I've asked them to kind of guide this a little bit more as to, what else we need to know about depression. And I was actually going to ask in terms of stuckness and what that means and what we need to know. Depression is formed when things don't feel right to you anymore, when there's a change that's happening and that needs to happen. And that's why humans have to go through some kind of depression. Depression itself, as a label, a word, a term that's used, is not relevant That's not relevant. What's important is what you are going through individually and what you are experiencing within yourself, which again is very needed. It's all part of this process. It's like a step-by-step process. And in every little part you go through, there's like a layer being taken out, being kind of pulled out of you. And then you go through another layer and again, another depression that's being pulled out of you from that other layer, and so on. In this depression that you experience, which is very needed, it's helping you grow. It's helping your soul go through that growth that it needs to do in order to find the fulfillment that it really needs to find in this life. Depression is not a bad thing. It's a very needed thing. It's a very needed aspect of life. It's literally just helping you to be on your path to grow to the next part and so on. You never need to worry about depression. However, with the stuck mode that I'm talking about, when we feel stuck and what that means, that's the mind that keeps pulling us into this stuck mode because it believes that it is only this, that it believes whatever it believes in its own belief system construct that has been created in your mind that's keeping you there. That, maybe I am unworthy, maybe I can't do this, maybe I don't have any power, all this stuff that might come up, and that's to do with the constructs that have been created in your mind from the stories, from the experiences that you've had in your life, in this life, and in many past lives as well, and your ancestral line, yes. In everything that you've experienced, in all your times, in the quantum, all together. That's the stuck mode that you might find yourself in. Sometimes the stuck mode feeds yourself. It's like it's feeding yourself. It's like feeding this ego of, I was right, I'm not good enough. And this is on a very subconscious level and a level that we're not aware of. But it's feeding that. So I must not be good at this, and I must not be able to do this. Therefore, I'm right. Therefore, I'm going to carry on being in this mode to prove myself that I'm right about this. That's one part of it. There are many parts of when we get stuck as well, but a lot of it's to do with the mind, the ego, the fear, which is the ego, that basically just that is being in complete survival. That's what the ego is doing, is helping us to survive. However, what we need to realize is that there's nothing wrong with depression and that it's absolutely needed, and therefore we don't need to be scared of it. There is no ego. There does not need to be an ego. This is all framed from the stories that you've experienced in your life as this character that you've come here with, in this human body that you're living in. But the human body is really needed in this experience, because unless you are experiencing it fully within yourself and letting it do what it needs to do as it's transforming within you, which means the depression that's going on and the rest period, which is the depression, then the transformation cannot fully happen after that. The rebirth, the reset cannot happen after that. And yes, it's doing something within you to activate your heart to open up. Because when you're open, then you're ready for the next part of your life. And you're saying, okay, I'm open to whatever is coming next. And that's why, again, depression is so needed. There's been this construct on depression for too long, and it's been impacting even the way we perceive mental health and the way we go through mental health because of this construct that's been created. Oh, that's very interesting. It's the construct we need to get rid of. That's the matrix system that has made us believe a certain way. Depression does not have to be so dark and so in stuck mode. But because of the matrix system and because of the system as it is, this construct of, this isn't right, you're not being human, you're not being right by experiencing this, it's getting more complicated as we're judging ourselves and perhaps even to some degree judging each other. And therefore, it's making the experience somewhat worse for us. Okay, without judgment, we can let it do what it needs to do and we come out of it in the other side. There is no fear. Ask yourself, what is the fear? Ask yourself, what is the fear? What are you actually afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. Everything you're doing in this earth, you are doing through your body. You have decided to come here in your body to experience everything in your body. So this is needed. This is how it works. You are transforming. And at this time, depression is so big amongst people, so big. With this awakening that we're all going through, depression is one of the biggest experiences that we are all having as humanity. By experiencing depression, the way that we experience it individually, everyone will go through it in a certain way, in a different way, but it is one of the biggest ones. And anxiety is really big at the moment as well. So if you haven't experienced depression like this, or ever in your life, or you feel like you haven't, or anxiety, then this is the time that you're going to feel it more and more, because the awakening, the transformation, the squeezes is happening for us to ascend and to awaken up to who and what we are. But please do not be afraid. It's needed. It's part of the process. Okay. And that's it. Thank you so much. And they're just saying, remember to also connect to your heart. Connecting to your heart through this process is very needed. By connecting to your heart and not letting your mind getting in the way, you can go through this process of depression or whatever you're going through in a much easier way. This is what we're coming to more and more. It's the heart and mind connection. Yes. The heart intelligence, yes. Thank you for your help. Thank you to my guides. So that was a nice little perspective on depression and what it's actually doing, and understanding that it's a way for us to transform, and that we really don't need to be scared of anything. It's just our body doing what it needs to do to reset our nervous system, and for calmness to set in, for that feminine nature to set in order for the healing to happen.